Welcome back again today. Today we'll be talking about the Basotho Kingdom. The San people populated the area till around the 1500s, and in the early 1800s, migration of different tribes in the area, wars, famine, and colonialism would all shape this kingdom. Between the 1500s to the 1800s, many different tribes would move or seek safe lands from other tribes and Europeans. King Moshoeshoe I would rise up from a minor chief to king of the Basotho kingdom. The kingdom would become the modern-day South African country of Lesotho. The kingdom would be founded in 1818, and King Moshoeshoe is seen as the father of the Basotho people. He is credited with gathering the Sotho people who were broken up by the Zulu and other tribal raids. King Moshoeshoe was son of Mokoleti. The king would eventually lead a group of young men to a mountaintop in the northeastern part of the modern-day country of Lesotho. Even with this location, the king and his people would still be attacked by different African tribes, the Dutch Boers, and the British. The king didn't feel safe in this area, so he would send one of his men to look for a new spot. A mountaintop location would be found, and the king would move his tribe to this location. This area is known as the Mountain at Night. This area was almost impenetrable due to there only being 7 paths to access the top of the flat mountain. These 7 access points would be all guarded. This mountaintop could support over 300 people and animals. The natural water springs were a vital key for the tribe to prosper. The Basotho kingdom would then be established. The king would make one key policy that helped the kingdom prosper even more. This policy would give refuge to other tribes, and in return, they would help with the defense of the kingdom. The king also conquered many other tribes in the area, and they would acknowledge the king as their king. They would be brought into the Sotho and share the language, culture, and customs. The king would have a reputation of compassion, fearlessness, and being wise. He was successful in defense for his people, and this made many people flock to his city for protection. He was even said to rehabilitate cannibals from eating humans to eating animals. In 1831, the neighboring Ndebele tribe would attack the kingdom, and they were defeated. King Moshoeshoe would send them a diplomatic gift of a cattle after the battle. Bandits would also try to raid the kingdom at night. They would be ambushed and looted for their horses and guns, as King Moshoeshoe would make sure that no one would tamper with the kingdom. Many odds were against the kingdom, especially the legendary Shaka Zulu, and the Zulus being not so far away from the kingdom. The king would strengthen his military by acquiring guns and horses from the Cape. He was such a good diplomat that he retained stable relations with the neighboring tribes. He would pay tributes to them, and even sent tributes to Shaka Zulu. His thought was to avoid war if necessary. The king also wanted to be the middleman between Shaka Zulu and the Europeans trying to take over the Zulus' land. He ensured his children would learn European ways, how to read in their language, and write as well. He also welcomed French missionaries to help relations between the French and the kingdom. The king would also hand out many defeats to his European enemies as well, with over 30,000 people at the height of the kingdom. French missionaries would also come to the kingdom from the Paris Evangelical Society. The missionaries would establish a friendship with the king and would help to advise him from time to time. In 1834, the same tribes whom tried to raid the kingdom would return to join the kingdom. Wesleyan missionaries would also show up to the kingdom. None of these groups wanted to submit to the king's rules at this time. The Wesleyans would eventually convince King Moshoeshoe I to give them the full ownership of the Thaba Ntlenyana area of the kingdom. In 1867 to 1868, the Boers from the Orange Free State would overrun the kingdom's land. South Africa would also have many wars with the kingdom. This time was known as the Lost Territories. The king would reach out to the British for help with protection. The king would ask Queen Victoria for help. The kingdom would soon become a British protectorate. This helped save the kingdom, which was constantly under attack. The kingdom would go through many names, such as Basotho land. The kingdom would fall under the rule of Cape Colony. This state of affairs would lead to increased tension, and in 1880, the gun war would break out. In 1884, the Crown would have direct control and would be under the High Commissioner of South Africa. The kingdom would be divided into 7 districts. They were also looked over by hereditary chiefs, who were allied to the Moshoeshoe family. Laws were put into place, passports were required by the native people, spiritual liquors were banned, and European settlement was prohibited. In 1966, the kingdom got its independence from the British, and the kingdom would become a country. The current borders of Lesotho were established from the kingdom. Letsi III is the grandson of King Moshoeshoe I and the current king of the country. Please like, subscribe, turn on the bell notification so you get all my videos. Add me on all social medias, which are Afric Network. And until next time, peace, one love.